Hi, it's Greg Schinkel, President of Unique Training and Development and Frontline Leadership Systems. And today I'm here with Kirk Langford, our General Manager. Kirk, what's on tap for today's Leader Feeder?
Well, Greg, the topic we're talking about today is why do frontline leaders become disengaged, and what are the consequences of that to organizations?
So, everyone's focused on team member or an employee motivation and engagement, but they don't realize that the leaders themselves are frequently disengaged, and probably for some of the same reasons.
Yeah, it's that tendency to see them as sort of not being affected by the same things as the employees are. And so we go, well, we have to think a lot about team member engagement, but we don't really have to worry about leader engagement or disengagement. And it's actually a really big problem, isn't it, Greg?
Yeah. So when you think about engagement, we know that the leader plays a tremendous role, especially with employees. So then you have to think about who is the leader of the leaders. And that's frequently the management team. So we know that the management team has this responsibility to pay some attention to the leaders who report to them. Now, you could even argue that management level engagement and even executive level engagement can also be an issue, but let's focus on the engagement of the frontline leaders and the supervisors.
Yeah, and when we talk about the consequences of ignoring and frustrating those key players, what happens is I think we see a trickle-down effect, don't we? Where if we're not taking care of our managers, then even the members on their team aren't going to feel taken care of. Because if you have that great leader that does everything they can to engage their team and their team members, but no one's looking out for them, even the strongest, most fierce advocate for their team eventually becomes disengaged. So their team might look as though everything's great, but then suddenly you're dealing with their resignation potentially, and we're a little bit blindsided by where that came from. And so we got to make sure that we're taking the time not just to engage the team members, but also the leaders that are managing those team members.
So when organizations are trying to implement change and continuous improvement, one of the things that they deal with is the fact that the leader, the frontline leader, the supervisor, the team leader, isn't feeling supported. What that person does is they put up a shield that essentially reflects back some of the change initiatives that management really needs them to take. And so one of the aspects of increasing their engagement is by providing the support, which means listening to some of their problems and concerns, actually resolving some of those, and maybe even involving the supervisor in resolving some of those concerns so that they feel that they're listened to, just like any person would want, listened to, and that someone's doing something to make their job more effective.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think the other thing you'll tend to see is that we know that team members are communicating with their leaders, the frustrations they're dealing with, the barriers they're facing, the obstacles they deal with day in, day out. And so if we're taking the time to communicate with our leaders about those same things, we're going to get some of the stuff that actually the team members are also dealing with. And so we're sort of letting that wisdom float to the top. And in doing so, we're creating a situation where we're going to probably solve a whole bunch of situations, a bunch of problems. We're killing a bunch of birds with one stone, as it were, simply by taking the time to engage and make sure that that leader feels heard.
Yeah. So if you sense that your employee engagement is waning or that your leadership engagement is waning, it's time to have a conversation with us. And the best way to do that is to reach out to us on our website at uniquedevelopment.com. We're also quite active on many social media channels, including LinkedIn, Facebook, and the latest, of course, is TikTok. Yeah. So connect with us and we can see how we can partner with you to develop a high-performance organization.